As 2025 draws to a close, I can't remember the country ever being gloomier. People are getting poorer, more people are becoming unemployed, inflation is proving sticky, and our debt is running completely out of control with a Chancellor who doesn't seem to have a clue what she's doing. Worse than that, people are frightened now to walk down the street wearing a watch, wearing jewellery. Oh, and by the way, if you say anything rude on Facebook, you may well get a knock at the door. Well, I've come here today to Greenwich to have a think about what this country used to be, what it represented, and what it can become. Because, of course, Greenwich was here at the very height of Britain's naval power. And that wasn't just about winning the Battle of Trafalgar. It wasn't just about building the biggest empire the world had ever seen. It was also about a Royal Navy that spent decades at huge cost driving slavery off the high seas. We have an enormous amount of our past to be proud of, and yet our education system, under both of the last governments, now teaches our kids to be ashamed of the past. Well, the first thing a reform government will do is make sure kids are taught correctly about our history. But if you look behind these magnificent buildings, you see Canary Wharf, you see the 21st century, and not just traditional stocks and shares and bonds, but there's a whole new world developing. A world of cryptocurrencies, a world of AI, a world of digital assets. And neither the Conservative nor Labour parties seem to even understand this world in any way at all. Let me promise you that we do. These are the technologies of growth as we head forward in this century. But none of it can be done unless we produce our own energy, lots of it, and at cheap rates. And because of fanatical net zero policies, we're literally being left behind.
Good day to you all, and welcome back to the British Report. If you thought the only thing exploding in London this week was the cost of a pint in the West End, you clearly have not seen the latest television footage of the Prime Minister. Sir Keir Starmer has spent months trying to maintain that calm, forensic exterior, but Nigel Farage just walked into a studio and effectively took a sledgehammer to the entire facade. It was 5 minutes of pure, unadulterated political demolition. We are not just talking about a difference of opinion, we are talking about Farage standing in the ruins of the Labour project and declaring himself the last chance for Britain. While Starmer is busy managing a shrinking party and a cratering approval rating, Farage is standing in Greenwich, pointing at the future and basically telling the establishment that their time is up. If you wanted to see the exact moment a government's composure officially evaporated, you are looking at it. Quick favour, if you are loving this, hit that subscribe button. Over 92% of viewers haven't yet. It is free. It takes a second and means the world to us. Thanks if you did. Now back to the show. Let us get into the meat of this New Year's message that has left number 10 in a state of absolute stasis. Nigel Farage chose Greenwich as his backdrop, a place he described as the height of Britain's naval power and national identity. But he was not just there for a history lesson. He was there to point out the contrast between the magnificent buildings of the past and the skyscrapers of Canary Wharf representing the 21st century. His argument was as sharp as a razor. Neither the Conservatives nor Labour have the slightest clue how to navigate a world of AI, cryptocurrencies and digital assets. He called them technologies of growth and accused the status quo merchants in Westminster of trying to regulate them to death because they simply do not understand them. Farage's confession was bold. He promised that Reform UK is the only party that actually gets it. He noted that 1 in 7 Britons now own a digital asset, yet the government treats the entire sector like a suspicious package left on the underground. By positioning himself as the champion of the crypto revolution, which he likened to the city's second Big Bang, he has effectively outflanked the Prime Minister on the economy. While Starmer is talking about 1950s-style state intervention, Farage is talking about personal sovereignty and financial innovation. It is the political equivalent of one man showing up with a smartphone while the other is still trying to figure out how to dial a rotary telephone.
1 in 7 of you own a digital asset of some kind, yet the government, the authorities, simply don't seem to care. And that's the point. We need change in this country, real change in this country. And if we go on voting for the same old parties, I promise you, nothing will change.
But it isn't just the tech talk that has Starmer seeing red. It is the raw, undeniable polling power that Reform is currently wielding like a broadsword. The numbers are, quite frankly, terrifying for anyone sitting in the Labour cabinet. Nigel Farage has pointed out that Reform UK has now led in 175 consecutive opinion polls. Let that sink in. This is not a spike or a blip, it is a sustained, systematic takeover of the British political landscape. With an average lead of 10% over the other parties, Farage is no longer just a protest leader, he is a Prime Minister in waiting. He made a prediction that has sent shockwaves through Whitehall. If Reform tops the local elections this May 2026, they will go on to win the next general election and fundamentally change the whole system of government. And it is not just vibe polling. We are talking about organisational muscle. As of January 2026, Reform UK has officially overtaken Labour in paid-up members, boasting over 268,000 activists compared to Labour's reported drop to under 250,000. Under Starmer's enterprise-sapping tutelage, the Labour base is shrivelling, while Farage's vote-winning machine is flourishing. Farage describes his party as an economic insurgency led by people who are tired of the size and scale of big government. He is offering hope and real change to a public that has become deeply disillusioned with a Prime Minister who has a net approval rating of -66, the lowest since records began. This raises the question, why is the public turning so aggressively against the adults in the room? According to Farage, it is because those adults are suffocating the country with fanatical net zero policies. Farage was blistering in his critique of the government's energy strategy. He argued that none of the technological growth of the 21st century can happen unless we produce our own energy, lots of it, and at cheap rates. He labelled the current net zero plans as fanatical, suggesting they will leave Britain literally left behind while the rest of the world powers ahead. He pointed out the hypocrisy of a government that claims to want growth while simultaneously imposing punishing tax hikes and suffocating red tape on the very people who create wealth. It is like trying to drive a car with the handbrake on and then complaining that the engine is overheating. The Prime Minister's reaction to this, reportedly an explosion of frustration. Starmer has spent his entire career trying to be the sensible choice, yet here is Farage standing in Greenwich calling him a status quo merchant who is ideologically opposed to wealth creation. The humiliation is compounded by the fact that Farage is using Starmer's own rhetoric of change and service against him. When Farage says reform is the last chance for Britain, he is tapping into a visceral fear that the current trajectory is one of terminal decline. He is not just arguing about policy, he is arguing about the very soul of the nation.
We may well be the last chance this country has to actually restore some proper values. Those of family, community, country, the ones upon which I based this party when I founded it in the very beginning. But we cannot do this without you, and you will not get the change you want without us. So let me ask you one thing. Please make it your New Year's resolution to do something. Support reform, join reform, go out and spread the message that we are the party of hope, we are the party of change, and we are, genuinely, the last chance for Britain.
As we head toward the May local elections, the suspense in Westminster is reaching a fever pitch. This isn't just about council seats anymore, it is about the survival of the two-party system. Nigel Farage is going double or quits with a £5 million spending blitz for the local elections. He is betting everything on the idea that the British public is ready to trash the whole system. He is even giving serious thought to scrapping the Office for Budget Responsibility, OBR, calling it a Blairite-style quango that dictates to elected politicians rather than serving them. It is a bold, high-stakes gambit that has the establishment clutching their pearls in horror, but for the millions of people who have seen their living standards stagnate and their public services crumble, Farage's chainsaw approach to public spending is starting to look like a very attractive option. The demolition is complete. Farage has spent 5 minutes on live television telling the country that the Prime Minister is a relic of a failing past, while he is the architect of a sovereign future. Whether you love him or loathe him, you cannot ignore him. He has positioned Reform UK as the last chance for a country that is appallingly led. As the Prime Minister explodes in private, Farage is smiling in public, knowing that every poll and every new member brings him one step closer to fundamentally changing the way Britain is governed. The battle for 2026 has officially begun, and the dead hands of the establishment are starting to slip. Thank you for watching.